Hello, and welcome everybody. I'm Shelley Malat from Cast and Crew Marketing. Thank you for joining us today for the second installment of our webinar series, Creating the Digital Production Office. Let me introduce Cast and Crew Vice President of Product Marketing and Strategy, Ivana Malcolm. She and the team will be guiding you in a deep dive into Start Plus and Cast and Crew Studio. They'll show you how these tools help you manage the new digital production office. Before I hand off to our panelists, some quick housekeeping. If you have any questions as we go, just click on the Q&A button in the bottom of your Zoom screen to open the Q&A box. Ivana and team will be addressing your questions throughout the webinar. We will also be providing a video recording to all who registered, so be sure to look for that link in your email. Without further ado, Ivana.
Hi, thank you, Shelley. So hi, everyone. Last week, Guillaume and I took you on a journey across our suite of products and integrated approach to the digital production office. First, I want to say thank you. Thank you so much for all the kind notes and emails you sent us. We were happy to hear that we provided you with information you were looking for as you begin to head back to production and navigate COVID requirements and a paperless process. Additionally, there were also questions about the products and how do they work. The good news is today is the day we take you on a digital deep dive into our onboarding and payroll production workflow products. And joining me today in that mission are super solutionist Alex Baer.
Hi, thank you, Ivana, for having me.
I love the bow tie, Alex, looking dapper.
Thank you. All dressed up with nowhere to go.
I also have with me the ever popular Sarah Pickard, and I say popular. Hey, and I say popular because as she manages our production accountant relations, let me hand it off to Sarah to say a few words.
Thanks, Ivana. Hi, everybody. I'm so happy you could join us all today. I've talked to a lot of you who have expressed concern over the safety of going back to work, especially in a paper-heavy office environment. It's clear now that going paperless is more important than ever. Today's webinar will show you our digital onboarding solution Start Plus, which will help keep you socially distant and save a lot of time managing all of that paper. In addition to Start Plus, we'll also go over the payroll workflow with Cast and Crew Studio. We're all creating a new normal together, and I'm excited for you to see how our products can help as you return to production. And now back to Ivana.
Thank you so much, Sarah. All right, so let's begin and show everyone how do Start Plus and Cast and Crew Studio work. All right, so we begin with users are invited into the system by our implementation team and assigned a specific role and granted permissions. Alex will talk more about these roles shortly as we go through the approval workflow. Once the users are in the system, they begin generating offers to crew. And then as offers are created, it goes to the crew member through a specific workflow for final approval. Completed documents are automatically separated and distributed in Cast and Crew Studio to designated folders. And last but not least, documents are stored in Studio for easy search, store, and share capabilities. So Alex, can you tell us a little bit more about the Start Plus approval workflow?
Absolutely, Ivana. So Start Plus allows for very customizable approval flows, but some of the roles that we'll see in the system are our hiring manager here. That's going to be the role who creates offers and is able to send those to new employees. A reviewer role, this is somebody who has the ability to look over those offers prepared by your hiring managers before your crew member receives those offers. Then, of course, our crew member who will accept their job offer and manage their personal profile, being able to opt in for direct deposit, set up their W-4 to follow them from show to show. Then we have our I-9 verifier who's able to review those I-9 documents and verify the I-9. And finally, our approvers. These are going to be anyone who signs off or gives approval on the packet before the crew member is officially onboarded, and the I-9 and Start form are sent digitally, automatically over to Cast and Crew. One thing to keep in mind is that the reviewer role we have here who reviews offers after the hiring manager is an optional role. So your hiring managers can be set up to just send offers directly to your crew member, really expediting your workflow.
All right, fantastic. All right, Alex, I think it's showtime. Shall we get into the product?
Let's dive in.
All right, great. So Alex is done or logging into Start Plus. So Alex, take it away.
All right. So here we have a hiring manager's login page. They'll see a projects list here. Keep in mind, you can be attached to multiple shows at the same time. So in the event that you're an executive or some sort of administrator who's attached to multiple shows, you'll see them listed here. Right now, Regina, our hiring manager, is only attached to this one show, Alex's Acceptable Accident, or as Ivana likes to tell me, Alex, you messed up again. We'll go ahead and log into the project and land on our Manage Offers tab here. This is our sort of high-level offer overviews tab where we're able to call out a few important things to you. We're able to show you, obviously, your crew member name and email address, their department and position and union status. We're also calling out to you a few things here as well. For example, in the event that a crew member has an overscale rate, we'll see that indicated by the red rate sign here. We'll see the scale rate below that, just for reference for you, as well as if a crew member has started to complete their paperwork and notes a conflict of interest, we'll also call that out with the COI badge on the offer, just letting your team know, hey, you might want to go in and take a closer look at that offer. You'll also notice some different offer statuses we have here. We have fully approved offers. We also have offers that are pending approval. We can go ahead and open up that pending approval offer and take a look at what we have sent to this crew member. We can set and update account codes. Keep in mind, this is permissions-based, so not everyone has to have the ability to set these account codes here, but you can always update that, change it on your offer, and save those changes. You'll see more detailed information about our rates here. You'll see reimbursements if they're listed. We'll go ahead and look here at this offer where we see a box rental here, a computer rental, a car allowance, mobile phone reimbursement, a per diem, and a housing allowance here.
Hey, Alex,
I
have a quick request. Are you able to zoom in a little bit closer in the screen? We have some viewers who, yes, that's fantastic.
Absolutely.
Sorry, keep going, my friend.
Absolutely. Here we also have some deal notes that we've added to this offer outside of the scope of just the rates that we sent and reimbursements that we sent. We'll see here 6th and 7th days being paid per the collective bargaining agreement, or per diem being paid only on location. And finally, I'm actually going to scroll to my pending approval offer here. We can also check what our approval path is like for each of our documents in our packet. We'll see here a green check mark next to our I-9 form because that form has been fully approved, and we see here that Katie, our accountant, signed off on that I-9 for us. However, we can also see incomplete or not fully approved documents denoted by this gray check mark here. We can click that. We'll see here that our first level of approval with Katie has happened, but in this workflow, we're looking for a second signer here. It looks like Gretchen, our producer, it still needs to log in and sign off on this paperwork. I'm sorry, on this digital start work.
True story, Alex, true story.
Yeah. And then finally, we do have some different actions you can take on your offers as well. We have the rescind offer button. That's your oops, I sent the wrong offer to the wrong person button. Pull that offer back real quick. What this will do is it'll invalidate your crew members' link that they receive in their email. They're not being notified of any rates or job titles in the email invitation they receive. So when they click on their link, they'll just be notified that that offer is no longer valid and has expired. There's also a resend email invitation link. We've all had that moment where something ends up in our spam folder, our junk folder. I probably had it 3 times before this with our Zoom call, but you can just resend that with this click here. And
Alex,
finally, you can.
Sorry, Alex, didn't mean to interrupt, but I had a question. What's that timer to the left?
Great question. This is going to be our I-9 countdown timer. We start this from 3 days from the crew member's start date, whatever you've selected as the start date. And there's a gentle reminder that you might want to go in and verify these I-9s. This I-9 timer does function on a 7-day work week, so we realize your production work week might be a little different, so we don't stop you from being able to verify those I-9s. It's just that helpful reminder to you that Well, we have 2 days left to verify Leonard and Ronnie's I-9s here, so we definitely need to make sure that we take care of those.
Awesome. Alex, so thank you for running through the dashboard. How do crew members get into Start Plus? How do they get invited?
Great question. We'll start Plus at the very beginning. It's a very good place to start Plus. And we'll add our crew member here on the Add Crew Member option. We'll type in our crew member's name, last name here, and email.
Great. Is that?
And then we'll hit submit. Yes, Ivana, and I really need everyone on this call to get a grip and get with the digital onboarding program. Come on.
That's awesome, Alex.
So we'll be able to submit that and add Greta to our crew here. We're able to see that Greta is added, and actually Greta does already have an account, so we see that called out for us, and we did already send Greta an offer. So we'll go through and send Greta one more offer. Keep in mind that the crew member has not received a notification at this point. This is the intent to hire list, and if you haven't sent an offer to them yet, you can always remove them with the little trash can icon over here. You can also repeat that process we just did with a bulk upload by downloading a sample CSV file, filling out all of your crew members' names on that spreadsheet, and then dragging and dropping that spreadsheet here. And we'll do the same process that we did with Greta, but with 5, 10, 50, 500 crew members, however many you need to add to your list. Additionally, we do have some other options that we can do on this page. We have an export crew list. That's going to give you a spreadsheet version of that manage offers page we just saw with a detailed breakdown of your crew members. I like to say vital statistics, you know, their contact information, all of the terms of their offer, the rates that they've received, the reimbursements they've received, and of course, any account coding for those. We also have a handy export emergency contacts. When crew members are finally registered with their Start Plus offer, they'll input their emergency contact information, and those will be updated as they update their own profiles on your exportable spreadsheet here.
Awesome. All right, let's create
now,
Alex.
Let's do it. We got a Greta grip over here.
Yes.
So we'll see on the left a list of our crew members that we've added to that Manage Crew page. Keep in mind that this list can get pretty long, so if ever you needed to search for somebody, you could always search for them by typing in their name. We'll look for Ronnie here. We can check Ronnie off as well. And we can multi-select crew members on the side in the event that we're sending multiple identical offers. We'll go ahead and just send it to Greta for now. And here we'll come to start creating our offer. We'll be able to set our start date and our send date. On this project, we've defaulted our send date to send on our start date, though we can unlock them with this little unlock icon if we wanted to make them different dates. We've seen a lot of success from accounting teams or teams in general, let's say creating offers and sending them in the future too. So they'll go in, maybe shooting starts on Monday, they go in on Friday afternoon, start drafting up all of their offers, set them to send on Monday, and then all of your crew members will receive an email notification with their offer 6 a.m. Monday morning.
Awesome. So this is the part, Alex, as you start, you know, selecting the different options in the drop down that I want to tell our viewers that this is integrated with our payroll system. And our payroll system has the labor contracts that are associated with your particular show. And there was a question that came on the Q&A box I'm going to tackle now, is whether, you know, we can use Start Plus before the IATSE contract has been finalized. And that is absolutely correct. You can. We do something called draft mode, and we can easily, you know, walk you through that when you go through implementation.
Awesome. And then as you see here, we've pulled over our scale rates for this contract. Keep in mind that that's going to be based on your specific contract. So whether you're working, you know, a feature, if you're working a half-hour comedy, something like that, you might see some different scale rates here for purposes of this demo. You can add any hourly guarantees here as well. In this case, we are sending both studio and distant rates, but we could always delete one of these as well.
Exactly. And it does automatically populate, right, once the position is selected.
Correct, correct. And we can also bump up this rate. Say we really like Greta, we're going to give her a little extra here. and we'll calculate and update your overtime rate to time and a half of what you've selected as that rate per hour studio here.
Awesome.
We'll keep scrolling. Let's go ahead and give Greta a box rental as well here. We can give Greta $75 a week for that. And let's give a per diem of $40 a day on location. We'll update our account codes here and save those. And then we can also add additional deal notes, anything that's not captured in the fields above, like we saw before, per diem paid, on location only.
Awesome. Great.
And keep in mind, everything in this box is going to come over to your cast and crew payroll coordinator as well.
So Alex, these documents, one thing I wanted to also mention is that as we prepare the project for the productions, one of the things that we do is look at the different documents that are supplied, and then we can also configure the system to automatically select documents based on the deal terms. So I think this one is a union individual. It'll automatically select a union deal memo. And if you had done, let's say, a non-union person, it would automatically select all the non-union associated documents, correct?
Correct. You can also preview these documents if maybe you forgot which one you're sending or you're not sure which document this is exactly. You can click the little eyeball icon and take a look at your deal memo here or whichever form you chose.
Yep, that's awesome.
We'll go ahead and attach a box rental rider to this as well, since we're sending Greta a box rental. And finally come down to the cast and crew start form custom questions here. Custom questions are going to be anything that we would fill out on the form before presenting it to the crew member. So in this case, we only have one custom question that's on our cast and crew start form. We're going to ask what hire type this is, and we'll say that it's a local hire. Then once everything is good, we'll click verify, look over a summary of all of the terms we've put together, and once we're ready, we're going to go ahead and create this offer.
That's great. And that's it. It's like magic. Gets sent off into
Just like magic.
The internet universe.
Exactly.
So Alex, we're going to take a minute here. We have a lot of really great questions coming through. So we're going to tackle a few of them while we're still in the hiring manager module of Start Plus.
Okay, Ivana, I have a couple questions here for you or for Alex, whoever would like to answer. The first is from Matthew. He says, is it a major hassle moving to paperless mid-production?
Oh, thanks, Sarah. I'll take this one, Alex. So not a major hassle. All I would say, Matthew, is that, you can do it with new hires. I would recommend that like you just do it on a go forward basis as opposed to trying to rehire everyone again and all those that you've completed. We usually recommend you do it at the beginning of production, but we certainly can help you out mid-production.
Great. Okay, let's see. The next one here is from Anonymous, and it said, do hires need to be in my cast and crew prior to being in Start Plus?
Alex, you want to take that one?
Yeah, absolutely. So crew members don't need to be in my cast and crew before going to Start Plus. If that's true, they'll go ahead and when they receive their invite for the first time to Start Plus, they'll create their my cast and crew profile then. However, we do encourage crew members to go in ahead of time. They can absolutely create their My Cast and Crew profile even now, as long as they've been paid by Cast and Crew before. They'll be able to go to my.castandcrew.com and start setting up their profile. It's a really great portal. Even if you haven't used Start Plus yet, you can access your old pay stubs. You can enable direct deposit, which we'll show off a little bit later on our walkthrough, and also manage your digital W-4s.
That's awesome. All right. Cool.
Okay, so an additional question from Jason. He says, can paper packets be uploaded to Start Plus, i.e. like a manual packet?
Gotcha. So the paper packet, so let me take that in two parts, actually. There's the part that is where you provide us with the manual packet We implement that into Start Plus. We put the different we do the correct mappings and put it in the approval workflow. And that's kind of how our system works. But let's say you do have a manual packet or someone that's filled it out in a different manner and you want to send that to our payroll team, you would do that through our Studio product. And we're going to show you that a little bit later and how you would send that over.
All right, fantastic. Let's see. Now, this one may have been gone over in Alex's demo, but we'll go over it one more time. So this is from Matt. He says, does the union rate automatically populate once the position is selected? But the second part is, if so, does it update each year with the new rate increases?
Yeah, I can take that one. So because Start Plus is integrated with our payroll system, our labor relations team works on uploading your contracts to be able to display whatever scale rates, if they're available, for the combination schedule letter, occupation code, and union that you've chosen. And when those contracts are updated by our labor team, they are reflected in your Start Plus project.
Okay,
Great. All right.
Okay, let's see. I have one from Helen. She says, will there be online training for all payroll accountants, UPMs who will generate employee offers and payroll approval, etc.?
Great question. Absolutely. The answer is yes. So we provide training prior to your go live. If you're working for a major studio on a major studio production, we have preset trainings for all of the different roles in the system so that you can get trained specifically for your function within our products.
Okay, fantastic.
All right. Let's take one more and then we will continue and we'll move on to the employee.
Okay, let's see here. Let's see. Sorry, Ivana, I'm just looking at the questions.
Okay.
Here. Here's a question. Do you upload your deal memo?
Oh, so I think that's actually very similar to the other question about the manual start packet.
Oh,
It could be the same. So I think, Cynthia, to your question, it's either or. So either you can have the let's say the studio or the production company deal memo be uploaded into Start Plus and added as a part of the onboarding process, or you can upload that in Studio, which we will show you later. So let's say, somebody, did something on paper or on a PDF or in a different manner, you can still upload that into Studio and that will come to our payroll coordinators. All right, great. All right, everyone, we'll continue to answer your questions offline. Thank you so much for being so interactive. We love the questions, but we want to make sure we get through everything. So Alex now is going to log in as the employee and to show you that view. So we just covered the hiring manager and now what the crew member is going to see on their end when they receive the offer.
All right, thanks, Ivana. So we'll see here an invitation to our project. We're able to see a custom email text here in the body of our email. So all emails will have the crew member's name and let them know which show and production company they are being invited to here. And then we can customize this text. Even if you wanted to have some helpful reminders or maybe production contacts here, we do always add a little bit of helpful information for our crew members, reminders to set up their W-4s, as well as contact information for our support team as part of this email as well. So we'll go ahead and click Start to log in. Keep in mind, if Greta had not yet created a My Casting Crew profile or Start Plus profile before, she would be prompted to create her password and then register in the system. Just for sake of time, we're going to use her and go straight into Start Plus, so we don't have to go through that registration process, but the registration process is still very linear here. We'll see, as the crew member logging into Start Plus, a list of our current new offers that have been sent to us, as well as offer history for all Start Plus shows to which this account is attached. So no longer are the days of having to send a photocopied version of the packet to the crew member, they're able to access this all right here in their Start Plus profile. They'll click on their offer, able to review the terms of hire here and the rates. Keep in mind, we're only going to display allowances and reimbursements that are applicable to this crew member, as well as all of those additional deal terms that we want to call out as well. Crew members can reject this offer, but they are going to need to give you a reason if they'd like to reject it. So they could say incorrect box rental rate, and then they'll be able to submit. But you'll notice if there is no reason, the submit button is not activated. They cannot click it. We'll go ahead and accept our offer though. We'll see here a supporting document request. Because we've attached our box rental rider here, we are being asked for a mandatory inventory list upload here. As a crew member, we can take a look at that box rental if we weren't sure what the form was or what needed to be attached here. But we'll go ahead and hit add document. Then we'll be able to, from our desktop, add over our inventory list. Be able to upload that and click next. We also have the option to add this inventory list to our My Cast and Crew profile under My Files, and we can choose which folder we'd like to put it in. So if we want to say it's a box rental inventory, we can go ahead and add that here and say add to My Files. Now, each time that I do a Start Plus offer from here out, I can choose to not upload a file manually, but I can choose to reference a file from my Files. I'll click forward and agree to do my I-9 electronically. We do have a link to the federal I-9 instructions here as well. In the event that the crew member really wants to read 16 pages of the federal government's most riveting reading material.
That's riveting, some riveting stuff there, Alex, really.
Oh, yes. Oh, my goodness. Stephen King can't come close.
No, but it's actually true. It is important, and we'll talk a little bit more about this in our I-9 verifier role about some of the recent changes around the I-9. But for the crew member, this is standard operating procedures in that they have to fill in their section 1 and do their attestation. But as far as bringing in their ID to the set, especially when people are doing social distancing, we have some workarounds or potentials on how production would manage that during these COVID requirements, if you will.
Awesome. Right. We'll go ahead and finish up our I-9 here and then move on to the rest of our packet. And this is where we're going to get to see Start Plus really work its magic for us. We aren't able to pre-populate profile information on the federal I-9 here, but we are on some of our other forms. Also, to point out some of our trigger functionality that we have available, you'll notice here we're going to ask if somebody is a California resident for the CA 590. We can see here on page 2 that we don't have any fields enabled. However, if we chose yes, we would now see the required fields enabled. However, if this doesn't apply to us and we click no, we'll be prompted to continue on with our packet because those fields don't apply to us. Then we'll get to the start form and see all of our profile information and offer information populate here for us. All printed out. We'll have our account codes here and also those additional deal notes. And then it's just as simple as clicking to sign in date.
That seems pretty easy, Alex.
It is pretty easy, I'm going slow here, but we could go through this at lightning speed, just clicking everywhere we need to sign. I figure crew members are probably going to want to pay some attention to their rates that they're being offered, so we'll be careful when we accept this.
Absolutely. And there was something here, actually this is perfect timing. There was a question about whether or not we offer something for crew for their inventory list. if they don't have an inventory list to upload. And certainly, you know, I think we have a cast and crew form that they can do that, but we can also, they can list their inventory here directly on the document. This is just a fake one for demo purposes, but there are other documents in which they can do that with.
And then we can go ahead and click accept offer once that button lights up. Keep in mind your accept offer button won't light up until you've completed all of the required fields on your form. You'll see some acknowledgement of receipt language here. This is also customizable in the event that your team would like to customize this acknowledgement language. And we'll see here one of our acknowledgements options, which is to list your policy documents or any documents that you'd like to get that acknowledgement for. Here we see that policies and procedures document didn't require us to sign and acknowledge on the form itself, but we still want to get that acknowledgement of receipt here. And then we can click to acknowledge receipt. Then we've submitted our start packet. We do have a couple reminders here about our documents to get our I-9 verified, as well as setting up our federal and state W-4s. Ivana, what do you think? Should we dive into our W-4s and direct deposit here while we have Greta?
Absolutely. I think Greta needs to check her W-4, but I think it's also great for, you know, the audience to take a look at my cast and crew and how the crew can manage their digital profiles and how that the W-4s, both the federal and the state, they can do that ahead of time. So Alex, I'll let you kind of talk more about that.
Absolutely. We can choose whether we're going to create a federal W-4 or a state W-4 and choose from our state's drop-down list here. We'll go ahead and do a federal W-4 and click forward. And now finally, when we submit this W-4, we complete all of our required fields just like Start Plus. We'll see the submit button light up here, and we'll be able to save that W-4 to our profile. So particularly for our crew members who are day players or something like that, where they would have to fill out maybe 25, 35 W-4s each year, they now no longer have to do that. If they're working on a cast and crew show, this W-4 can follow them. So we're alleviating some of that burden on our crew members show to show. Also, you'll see here access to that My Files tab that we talked about, as well as pay stubs and tax documents, as well as our profile. Here we can update our information in the event that we get Start Plus offers in the future and we want to update our information. Maybe we've moved since our last time here. We can come down to addresses and choose to edit our addresses. And also the big kicker of this profile here is crew members being able to enable direct deposit. This can now be entirely done and facilitated by the crew member. They can enable their direct deposit here, choose their account type that they'd like to add. We do have some helpful reminders of what a routing number is and what an account number is. The crew member will be asked to verify it one more time. And upon that, we will enable that direct deposit for them digitally. Keep in mind, it can take up to 14 calendar days before this takes effect, but we no longer need that weighted check. We no longer need that sensitive personal banking information to pass through your production team's hands because we can collect that from the crew member themselves.
Awesome. Alex, thank you so much. So Sarah, I think we've got a bunch of questions here. We can take some questions on the employee role.
Yeah, that'd be great. Lots of good questions. So the first one is from Haley. She says, let's say you go through the whole process and then you realize the deal is wrong. You need to change something small like an opcode or a schedule letter. How would you go about doing that?
Got it. So thank you, Haley. So two things. Number one, Alex did mention early on, there is a reviewer role in the system that we can activate. And that's after the hiring manager has initiated that offer. And the role of that reviewer is to check things just like an opcode or a schedule letter. And we usually recommend that that's like a payroll accountant or a payroll clerk, somebody who's familiar with that. So as a double check or a second set of eyes to ensure that you've got that right deal in place. In the event that continues through and they catch it during the approval process, we do have the ability to reject that offer and then take it back to the hiring manager to go ahead and make those adjustments.
Okay, great. Let's see. So Carla would like to know, can crew use My Cast and Crew to change their address after the start work has been finalized and approved?
The answer is yes.
Yay. Yeah, I was gonna say, I think we just did
cast and crew. Yep, it's an easy answer. I like those.
Well, softball to you. Okay, great. We've got a few more. So Cheryl is asking, if a crew member works in more than one position and changes throughout the week, do you need to send another deal to them?
If a crew member works in more than one position and changes throughout the week. So it really does depend whether or not they're changing the position or if they're getting re-rated. So if they're actually changing the position and you need to stipulate a different rate, yes, you can onboard them again, but you can just simply select the start form and any related other documents that you feel you need, and then push that through the system. And that makes it nice and easy. If you're doing a re-rate, that's something you can handle in Hours Plus and doesn't require a new start form.
Okay, got it. Do we have time for one more, Ivana?
We do, and then we're going to move on to the I-9.
Okay, perfect. Let's see. Excuse me.
Clear the throat.
Sorry, I got a little frog in my throat there. Okay, so from Cynthia, she says, electronic signatures created by the system or DocuSign?
Ooh, good question. So our system is, we have our own e-signature solution in our application. And it is very much in the same vein as DocuSign and other products that are in the market today. It's very secure. We have a very, audit log process, an e-signature certificate that, that can be held, or, if in case you, need it in a court of law or anything like that, that is absolutely available and in the system. All right.
Great.
All right, thank you. All right, Alex, take us back into the system. So we've covered hiring manager and the employee. We're gonna now jump in as the I-9 verifier quickly and final approver to kind of take a look at how we handle that in the system. And as Alex logs back in, I'm just gonna talk again a little bit about that I-9 role, that I-9 verifier role. Typically on the, on a production, you're going to want to have multiple individuals who are going to be I-9 verifiers. And again, because of the situation, and some are going to be remote, some will be on set, it's going to be a little bit challenging. So what, you're able to do now is Alex, has that dashboard similar to, the hiring manager dashboard. The crew members can actually make a copy of their IDs, and then we can have that be uploaded into Studio for access so that you can actually verify. But Alex, do you want to talk through then this process in the system as they, as they get that information and what they can put on the I-9?
Absolutely, Ivana. So here on the I-9 verification portion of our process, we are going to have a couple rules just to make sure we get the right documents. If we choose a list A document, we'll disable list B and C. Obviously, the inverse is true as well. If we choose something like a voter's registration card, we're then still going to require that list C document. So making sure that you get the right documents and the right combination there. You can also add additional information. Now, depending on your issuing authority, specifically for list B documents, there are various instructions here based on if you've been offered an extension or not on the expiration date for any of these documents. You can add COVID-19 if you're doing that remote verification, or COVID-19 EXP if your issuing authority has given you an extension on those documents in the event that they're perhaps expired and haven't been able to be renewed due to COVID. Then we'll fill in the rest of our info here. Fill in our info as the I-9 verifier.
Great. This is pretty
And once everything is there,
right?
Boom.
Yep.
Absolutely. And there we just verified Greta's I-9.
Yeah, it's super simple. And one of the things, I don't know if you've already mentioned this, I can't remember, but once you go ahead and verify that I-9, that disappears from this dashboard, correct?
Correct. We'll be able to check on it though under our approvals tab or under our manage offers tab by going and finding Greta here. And we're able to here see that that I-9 has now been verified. We see that Regina signed off on it. But we do see a couple gray check marks, meaning that we aren't quite out of the gate yet. We still need to sign off on this, the rest of this packet with our first level of approvals here. Keep in mind that this approval might change if you're using departmental approval flows. That's where we can split apart your packet and send, your post team to approve post-production packets, and we can send your physical production team, physical production packets, etc. We'll go in and hit approve here. We're able to see the inventory list that was uploaded here. Very official inventory list. And then we'll be able to click forward. Write our digital signature here. Keep in mind, if you're staying logged into the system, you'll be able to create that digital signature once and then do whatever approvals you need. If you need to do 50 approvals, you won't have to type your name every time as long as you save for your session. We'll continue through. And then also for my approvers, if you know that you're probably not going to have an issue with an offer and you need to get through approving these quickly, you can always click on the left here on our document navigation panel to go right to your next signature spot. So no longer are the days of post-it notes and dog-eared deal memos. You can now tell Start Plus, take me right where I need to sign.
Alex, you have a lot of fun with this. You're one of our trainers, right? You do this how many times a week?
Oh, I can't even keep track anymore. I'm just going to start putting up Start Plus decals all over the inside of my apartment. So do we have any final questions here about that Start Plus approval process? Now that we've fully approved Greta's offer, we're sending over that I-9, we're sending over that start form to Cast and Crew. Cast and Crew payroll coordinator will be able to see it.
That's great. Sarah, why don't you give us a couple of more questions? I think we have some that are ready.
Yeah, I was going to say, of course, we have plenty of questions for sure. Lots to go over here. So Anonymous asked, if they upload their copies of their driver's license and other personal IDs, does it eventually delete the file? Crew members can be very sensitive about those documents.
That's a really great point. They are absolutely sensitive about that, and we don't want to hold on to those documents. So I would say that yes, you do have the ability to delete them once you've done the e-verification. However, I do recommend that you read the rules from our federal government in terms of the COVID requirements, because there may be some rule around it that you may need to keep those on file, or you may need to obtain some additional information for when you can see that person in person. So again, I do want you to go, double check the federal government guidelines for that.
Copy. Got it. Okay, great. And let's see, Kathleen wants to know, does the employee have access? Oh, that just moved. Hold on. I got to find the question. Everybody's typing at once. Let's see. Where did it go?
I think I might have pressed a button for you, Sarah.
I think you might have. That's okay. We'll move on to Carla's question. How is Start Plus in Studio used for E-Verify for I-9s?
Ooh, that's a great question. Alex, did you want to take that, or do you want me to take it?
Absolutely. So we can use Studio for that. What we're able to do is create folders within Studio. And we'll get into Studio in just a second here, actually, anyway, and we can point out where we would create those E-Verify folders. We're able to permission our E-Verify team on our end to see just those folders within your project. So they're only looking at the E-Verify folders, and they're able to take care of that E-Verification process through Cast and Crew Studio on your project with your team.
Awesome. So Alex, actually, that's a really good transition point. Do we want to actually go into Studio and see what that looks like? Because now we've done the hiring manager, we've done the employee, we've seen the I-9 verification, and we've done approvals. So now those offers, and as I like to repeat, this is Guillaume's word, automagically go into Studio. I always love it. But it goes into Studio, into the various folders, and ready for access. So let us, take us there.
Awesome. So we're in Cast and Crew Studio now. We have our folder, Alex Acceptable Accident. And we'll see here some folders to which Regina has been permissioned. She's able to see some important production related folders here. Keep in mind, Studio isn't just for housing your Start Plus documents. You can use it for all sorts of things. It's a very versatile tool. But we do want to point out a few of our key functionalities here with our integrations. Specifically with our payroll system, you'll notice a main folder here. And you can use this main folder to correspond with your cast and crew payroll coordinating team. So you can send files to your cast and crew payroll coordinator by uploading files to your To Cast and Crew folder. We'll permission this so that way your coordinator receives a notification on their end, letting them know you've deposited these files. We see here we've sent over some inventory lists and deduction forms over to that payroll coordinator. And once they're done processing those forms, they can also move those into the completed folder just to keep everything nice and tidy in this folder. You'll also notice a From Cast and Crew folder here. We'll set up permissions for you to receive notifications in the From Cast and Crew folder. So that way when your payroll coordinator needs to send you those sensitive payroll files, maybe some custom reports, invoices, etc., they can send this to the From Cast and Crew folder, and it'll be all available at your fingertips within Cast and Crew Studio. We'll actually go back to our main show folder, Alex's Acceptable Accident here, and do want to point out our integration with Start Plus here. We're able to separate out individual documents. So in this case, an I-9, where we could create an e-verify folder within this I-9 folder already, just for that e-verification processing. We'll see the I-9 forms sent over from Start Plus here. Able to take a look at credits, for example, and we'll see everything filled out for us here. We're also able to see our full crew start packets. If we wanted to see these full crew start packets sent over, you'll see our crew member names here. But let's say you weren't sure where to find that crew member's packets. Maybe you're not sure what folder it's in or something like that. And as long as you're permissioned to see that folder, you'll be able to search for it in our advanced search bar here. So if we wanted to find Ronnie Grip, for example, was one of our other crew members on our project, we're able to type in Ronnie Grip's name, and you'll actually see here, we see the Greta Grip one because we're picking up on that Grip name here, but we are able to see Ronnie Grip here. We're able to see Ronnie Grip's start form separated out. We're able to see that deduction form, so it can bring you directly to where you need to go. We can go straight to, let's say, our start form.
Ooh, Alex, hang tight there for a second. I do want to, you
Sure.
picked up on something that we mentioned before, is that audit trail. And so this is that too. I just want to kind of point that out to our viewers, that there is a full audit trail on each of the start packets that you can actually see on each of them as you search through. Sorry, had to derail you a little bit, but I wanted to point that out.
No, that's great. You can see that audit history. You can see who approved it, where they approved it, when they approved it. All very vital information for proving that this e-signature is valid from the system.
That's awesome. All right.
But that's just a little taste of what Cast and Crew Studio can do. We'll save the rest for another webinar. But I'll go ahead and send things back to you, Ivana, if we want to open up the floor for questions on Cast and Crew Studio.
Absolutely. We've been queuing them up for us.
Yeah, Ivana, it looks like we have some good ones. The first one's from Amy. Hi, Amy. She's saying, can the completed folder be subdivided, please?
Oh, I love Amy. Hello, Amy. Amy, yes, the folders can be subdivided. You can make them as granular as you need them to be, and as well as, you know, add folders as you see fit for your production.
Okay, great. Let's see. So Bright Light is wondering, is there a training available for Canadian productions as well?
Absolutely. We will, at any point you need, you know, training, as I mentioned, you can reach out to your customer success team and organize a training for your particular production. Or if you're, you know, like I said, a project that is part of a major studio, then we have those weekly trainings that we will provide you with the schedule before you go live.
Okay, perfect. Let's see. And then we have another question from Carla. She says, do you offer a template form that can be used to fill out an inventory for a crew member who has never had to submit before?
Oh yeah, I think this was that question that disappeared for you.
Yeah, it might have been.
And then it kind of reappeared, which is kind of, it's magic. Yes, we do have a form that they can use. The system doesn't create a form for them, but there are forms and options that, you know, especially I think different box rental forms, different production companies ask that you fill out the inventory on the document. So we can absolutely accommodate that to the crew members. Yep.
Okay, great.
Great. Let's see, we'll take on, let's see, one more. I have one here. It said something about the ability to export any sort of report. And I think something was like a payroll Bible. And that was absolutely something that Alex showed in the beginning, which was in the hiring manager role where you can export that information. And Alex, remind me, because you're much closer to it, what are the different things that are exported on that list?
We've got a lot of information. We'll have crew member basic contact info. We'll have the crew member's union status, the last four of their social, their occupation code, and then all of their various rates, hourly guarantees, reimbursements, and applicable account coding that you've assigned to those as well.
Great. So we can take one more question.
Okay, perfect. Let's see. I think we're going to say, is there a way to automate adding I-9s to the Studio folders for E-Verify, or do the I-9s have to be individually added to Studio one by one?
Ooh, that's a really great question. And that's the functionality that's great in Studio. Alex, the I-9 folder there, that's the one that where any of the start packets coming from that particular project, we extract the I-9 and the packet separately, and only the I-9 show up in that folder, correct?
Correct. We're able to separate it out where we can put all of your packets in one packet folder, but any of your other individual documents in their own subfolders as well.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's the really great part about the functionality here in Studio is that in each of these folders, you can assign a distribution list as well. So that, you know, if you need those documents to go to anybody in the studio or, you know, to cast and crew, we can permission that out and make sure that they get notifications to the documents that are in those folders. All right, that's great. Well, thank you so much for all these questions. We're going to kind of go now back. Alex, thank you for taking us through the system. So one of the things I wanted to mention, if you are ready to get started on our products, our customer success and implementation team are ready to help. We recommend that you prepare the following for smooth process. Number one, we complete the project setup in payroll, and then provide us with the labor contracts associated with your production. I know there was a particular question about that. If you don't have them, we can absolutely do draft mode, but obviously to really have the labor rates and the scale rates available, we recommend that those contracts be supplied to us as soon as possible. Also, if you could prep your department list. If you are a PSL user, we can always use your chart of accounts from that. And then also prepare your start packet. So your non-union, your union, your loan out packets, all of that for us so that we can implement those into the system. And last but not least, consider what your requirements are for an approval workflow. So we are absolutely here to help you navigate COVID-19 requirements for a contactless production. Our solutions are available now so that you can create and run your digital production office. Thank you all so much for joining us today.
Thank you, everyone. That is the end of our webinar. And thanks to Ivana, Alex, and Sarah for that look into how we can manage today's digital production office. If you have any questions regarding the Cast and Crew Production Suite, we welcome you to contact us directly by emailing sales@castandcrew.com. And please join us next week for a deep dive into Hours Plus. Look for an invitation in your inbox tonight. We look forward to seeing you next week, and until then, stay safe.